Evening, welcome to the Rams Review, live from Pride Park Stadium. Owen Bradley with Sean Barker alongside, here to bring you reaction to yet another home win for Derby County this afternoon. Kenzo Houtmijn's first half goal was enough for Derby to record a third consecutive championship home win and their 10th in a row at Pride Park in all competitions, stretching all the way back to last February. Derby well worth the victory, although they had to dig in at the end. Not all good news. David Ozoh lost to injury in the second half. We'll hear from Paul Warne on that shortly. Yeah, lots to come from the Derby head coach, and you'll hear from Callum Elder, who was our pick for player of the match today. But Sean Barker, the former Derby captain, is here. Tell me about what you saw from Derby today, Sean. Another win.
A different win. Very different in terms of the Bristol City game, where you have to say for long spells were outstanding and played some of the best stuff we've seen under Paul Warne. Today was a little bit more difficult, a little bit more scrappy. We didn't have too many clear-cut chances, neither did Cardiff, so it was quite a tight affair. But the one key moment, the one little bit of quality with the assist from Callum Elder and, of course, the finish from Houtmijn was separated the two sides. And the second half, we probably didn't have that flow at times that we maybe had in the first half. We sat that little bit deeper. The last 10-15 minutes we saw very little of the ball, but in truth Cardiff weren't very good. They were pretty poor, and we limited them to very few opportunities, even though they had a bit of possession in the last 15-20 minutes. So all in all, it's about keeping momentum. We mentioned winning 9 in a row here. Could we get the 10th? We've got it. You win games in different ways, and today was just about defending the box well, having the little moments when you've got the spell, and of course a wonderful goal separates the two sides.
There was some speculation tonight about the future of Cardiff's manager Errol Bullitt, who actually watched the game from the director's box. He was serving a one-match touchline ban, and maybe not a surprise given they've started the season now with 4 defeats from their opening 5 games. In sort of the context of that, was it important that Derby got the 3 points today?
Oh, yeah, hugely. I think more so because of the last performance, and we're seeing a little bit of momentum. And also you're playing against a team that's struggling for form, struggling to get results. The manager was in the stands, they're away, they haven't got an away point as of yet. You have to make the most of those moments. And again, it doesn't always look pretty. It doesn't always come as this perfect performance. Sometimes it's just about grinding results out. And there were still moments of brilliance and moments of class and individuals and little link-up play, but we didn't create the chances that we had done in previous games. We weren't as clear-cut in terms of the final third. So if that's not on, if that's not maybe at the level it needs to be, it's about defending, it's about winning your duels, it's about making blocks, and it's about making the most of those little moments. And it's exactly what we did this afternoon. So in a weird way, even more positive, because you've shown another way how to win a game of football when it's probably not the easiest game that you're playing against.
And more to come from Barks, but let's get some reaction from the camp. Here's head coach Paul Warne.
Yeah, exhausted like everybody else in the stadium, I think. I thought we played really well for about 75 minutes, and then, in fairness to Cardiff, they threw everything on, and we were tired at the end, obviously, and we went to a 5, and whenever called upon, Jacob helped us out. So I still don't think they had many shots on target. Their best chance possibly was Cash's header first half from the corner. But apart from that, I thought the lads were great. I was really pleased. Like, I asked them to play with emotion today. Unfortunately, my uncle isn't well, so my mum was coming, but yeah, he's on his last legs, bless him. So he's a great guy in my upbringing. But I did tell the lads that, but it was about, you know, soul today, and I loved him as a human being. He's a great footballer, a really positive guy, so I knew that dressing room would use that. So we asked the lads to play on the edge, and they gassed out, which is my favourite saying, and you know, there's some really tired bodies in there. But winning football matches at any level is hard. You have to work harder than the opposition, you have to put your bodies on the line, and you know, I think a few of the players really emulated that today. I thought Jerry, Caden were excellent, back line were good, and it's good to see Kenzo get another goal. I was really pleased for him, so I've literally round up the whole game for you.
Nice work.
Thank you.
Kenzo Houtmijn, 2 goals in 2 for him. Tell me about the adjustments that he's made, if any, coming to the Championship, because he looks right at home now.
Yeah, well, in fairness, the biggest adjustment is he's a learner. He's been brought up in football. His dad's a football guy. You saw him last week walking around like James Bond, so it's good to have him over. But I think training with the group daily and the pace of training and how physical it might be in compared to Holland, that might be a bit disrespectful, but you learn by osmosis sometimes. We obviously showed the lads clips. I showed the three midfielders clips last week where they'd done some really good stuff, but some stuff I weren't so pleased on, and I just thought we had a bit more bite in the middle of the park today. So that was really pleasing, and for him to get 2 goals is great. In fairness, I mean, you interviewing him? No, okay, well, I'll tell you. So I showed him a 2003, I think it was, Match of the Day goals highlight reel in December. It was the best one you've ever seen. So I was begging the midfielders, they've got to shoot, they've got to add goals and attempts to their game because you can't just rely on the front three. So, and in fairness, they all had a little pot shot first half, so I was like a proud father. But for him to score another goal, you've got to get in the box. That's the thing as a midfielder. Like you can miss chances, that's fine, but you've got to give yourself the opportunity to score. And he did that today. And as a player, if you win 1-0 and you've scored the goal, you've cracked it. You are cracked it. You have a great weekend. So. Really pleasing. I was pleased with a lot, disappointed with some things, obviously, but I think we limited a really good Cardiff team to very few chances.
You didn't have the engine of David Ozo for long spells of that second half. How much did losing him affect you, if at all, and how's he doing?
Yeah, I think he's obviously he's upset. I don't know if he's had that injury before. I think he's done his hamstring. It could be, anything. I don't want to guess how severe it is, but he was quite upset. But young lads do get upset when they get injuries because they think the world's fallen out. So it's disappointing to lose him because he's obviously a massive part of our midfield. So, but in fairness, everyone just slots in. There's no drama. It sounds awful on the side of the pitch, but it's just next man up. Like, you can't cry about it. Just let's see who can, and that's the joy of having a squad that everyone can compete. So. He'll hopefully it won't be too severe, but it might be a couple of weeks, and we might not see him this side of the next international break. But hopefully it isn't that bad.
I want to ask about Ebou Adams and the moment at the end, but actually not the moment, which we all saw, but the reaction to it, because at full time the staff went over to him, the teammates all went over to him, and then the whole stadium sort of embraced him and picked him up as well. How much does that sum up what you want, what you have built and what you want to continue building on here?
I think like one of our strengths, like that no one can see really, I think possibly, is that we try and build a culture. We try and build like staff and everyone behind the scenes and everyone trying to pull together for the team. And Ebou's one of them. He's a sacrificer. I think he's the only player we have who would have been brave enough to go for the header and chase after it. And it would have been fitting if he'd have scored today with that performance. It would have been amazing. But there's some sick part of my brain that makes it more memorable that he missed it. I know that sounds weird, but in years to come, I might see you in Benidorm in 10 years' time. I'm singing to Erasure. You walk in, you go, can you remember that game? Which game? Against Cardiff. Well, I can't. You know what my memory's like. That one where Ebou. Magic moments. So his performance deserved a goal. He was excellent. I thought the booking early on I wasn't agreeing with the decision. I think it's a nice way to put it, but then I'm biased. And that sort of takes a little bit of his, super strength away from him. But he done well. Didn't get himself in any situations where he could have got a red card. So really pleased. It was nice to have Nat, obviously coming back from. He done well to play as long as he did. And like I thought, Caden and Jerry done their best as well to push the team back.
A Derby boss and Erasure fan, Paul Warne, are there with his reaction. You'll hear from Callum Elder shortly. Let's talk about some of the major moments, Sean. I thought the goal taken by Kenzo Houtmine was a brilliant bit of play.
It was. We saw early in the game that they were getting a threat down that left-hand side. Elder was bombing forward, Nat was drifting inside, getting in 1v1s. It was about whether or not you took any of those opportunities that arose. And the little flick from Yates set it on its way, in its motion, and as soon as Elder gets to that byline, it's about getting runners in the box. He puts a decent ball in. I think Caden Jackson might have let it go through. And it was Houtmine that arrived late to finish really, really well and find that far corner. So with Houtmine, we're seeing a different player than I thought we saw in the first couple of games. He dawdled a little bit in the first couple of games, expected a little bit more time than he's used to. We're seeing him now move the ball that little bit quicker. We're seeing him still find those wonderful passes, and he always looked like the creative one in that final third, but he's also doing that little bit out of possession as well. So it takes a little bit of time to come up to speed, and 2-2 for him, and he's looking a real snip in terms of the quality that he can bring to this side.
The only thing missing from Derby's perspective was a second goal. Now, they should have had it right at the end with Ebou Adams. I think we're both going to chalk that up to just pure exhaustion from his perspective. But I mean, Nathaniel Mendez-Laing did draw a save out of the goalkeeper, but Derby got in areas today without creating a great deal of clear-cut chances. Would that be a fair assessment?
Yeah, I think both sides struggled to create clear-cut chances. They both got in and around the box. I have to say, I think both teams defended the box from crosses particularly well. Derby, in that second half, there was enough crosses from Cardiff to have to defend, but they never had anyone that looked like they were going to get on the end of it. Jackson had a chance, probably should have gone across the goal rather than going towards the front post. Obviously, Mendez-Laing had a couple of opportunities. It was getting in good areas without making the most of those situations, and then it matters about those. You get your goal. How can we manage to get a result from this? How can we still get the clean sheet? And Cardiff came away with very few opportunities, and you can see why they might struggle. Willett was bright when he came on and came inside the pitch, and again we had to defend deep and we had to make blocks and tackles, but part and parcel of a 1-0 win.
Fortunately for Ebou Adams, the miss at the end didn't matter. But at the other end of the pitch, Jakob Widell-Zetterstrom has a couple of big saves to make first half today. I think that was the only time that he was really significantly called into action. But what about his presence? Because it seems to me that is playing a massive part in how solid Derby look.
It makes a huge difference as a centre-half, knowing that you've got that assurance behind you. Erin Cashin had one of the strange days. He did some brilliant stuff, as he always does, but made a few mistakes that could have been telling, and Zetterstrom came out of his box really quickly to make that tackle. He obviously saved at the near post from Cash. Cash nearly beat him from the halfway line. So there was moments where he had to step in. He had to make big calls and big saves at big times, and that's part of your goalkeeper. That's what you hope you have behind him. But if he's making just 1 or 2 saves a game, you know, defensively and in terms of our shape and structure, we've done enough. And a little mention to both fullbacks, who I thought were excellent. Nyambe, the last 10-15 minutes where he's pretty much dead on his feet, the 1v1 duels, the tackles, the blocks, he was outstanding. Curtis Nelson again didn't put a foot wrong. He defended everything really, really well in the box. So you'll hear Paul talking about the attackers, but I've got to mention the back four as well in terms of what they did to make sure it was a 1-0 win.
Let's hear from one of them. Here's Callum Elder.
Yeah, like we just said in the changing room, any win in the Championship's excellent. I thought to a man we showed all sides of our game. I thought we dominated first half, could have scored more. We took that into the second half, started really strong. Slightly different to Bristol, we didn't get that second goal, so the game didn't really sort of open up in terms of control. But you know, the last 20 minutes of the game, we defended our box so well, and you know, we could have countered and scored that second goal, but it wasn't to be. But you know, I felt it was a terrific win, and we've built a real strong sort of performance at home consistently now as we've started the season.
An excellent goal, and you were at the heart of it.
Yeah, you know, we've brought Jerry in. I feel like he links play very well. It was a big thing from the manager that he wants the eights to sort of make the box. Caden checked his run, and he was smart enough to leave it for Kenzo, who came in, and great finish, and you know, just delighted to be involved in the goal. So yeah.
Kenzo, like all of the new signings, really seems to have settled in really quickly, and I suppose in his case adjusted to the Championship well too.
Yeah, he's a terrific footballer. He takes the ball in any area, tight, good feet, and you know, above all that, he's a terrific lad. You know, he's settled into the group really well. You know, the lads have welcomed him with open arms, and he's felt that. And I think you can see in his performances, he feels really settled in us, in our team, as a player and as a person. So we're delighted to have him. He's a terrific player.
You referenced the home form. It goes back, way back into last season. 10 wins in a row at home in all competitions now. What is the secret to how good you've been here?
You know, it's probably difficult to put your finger on one thing. What I just said outside was what I feel like we've done this season is, you know, last season the aim was to get promotion, which meant we needed to win every game, or at least try to. We've taken that mentality into this season. The fans have got behind us. It's been a real collective effort, which I feel like everyone can see, the fans, the players, the staff. You know, it's such a good time to be playing football at Pride Park at the minute, and you know, I think the results have shown that. You know, we've gone into every game, home and away, to try and win, We've picked up 3 wins, 3 clean sheets at home, so of course we'll look to build on that.
And just finally on you've started every game in the league so far, man of the match today, in the conversation for it against Bristol City as well. How pleased are you with the start that you've made to this campaign?
Yeah, really pleased. It's just a start. I'm fully focused on continuing what I'm doing in the team and however the manager wants to use me. It was a good pre-season. Took that into the start of the season, and I'm just really enjoying my football and working hard for this football club.
That's Derby defender and player of the match today, Callum L. The results from the weekend so far then, with Portsmouth against West Brom still to come tomorrow. A victory for Sheffield United last night at Hull, who were still without a win in the early games. 1-0 wins for Burnley and Luton away at Leeds and Millwall, and another victory for Oxford United, who've started the season well. Blackburn have started very well too. 3-0 winners over Bristol City. Middlesbrough held by Preston. Maybe the story of the day though, Plymouth getting their first victory of the season, their first win under Wayne Rooney. A late winner sees them beat Sunderland, who had won 4 out of 4 coming into today. For the first time this season, let's take a look at the table on the Rams Review. After 5 games for the vast majority, West Brom, of course, with a game in hand, and Derby are only out of the top 6 on goal difference. The Rams with 9 points from the opening 5 games. Sunderland do lead the way. Despite the defeat today, West Brom could overtake them if they beat Portsmouth tomorrow. At the bottom, Hull and Cardiff among the sides who are still yet to win. And look at that goal difference for Cardiff at -10 already. That's all from us for now. If you want more reaction, it'll be on the website dcfc.co.uk. From me, Box, and the team, goodbye.